Hello family, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy E, the Dividend Passport Bro, back with another video. Guys, today is Sunday, it's our weekend talk, let's talk video, Edwin, let's talk video. And I had to look for something interesting to talk about. And what is more interesting than reinforcing our values on this channel? And I know people are like, what the hell is our value on this channel, Edwin? It's simple, guys. Investing for your future. That is the key thing I always talk about on this channel, is investing for your future. Now, this is not financial advice, okay? I'm just a 52-year-old man that makes video about my portfolio and my portfolio alone. So do not take this as financial advice. Use it as a guide, as a motivational tool to get you started in your financial future. Okay, guys? Now, with that said, like I said, it is Sunday. It's raining over here today. So, you know, your boy's trying to do what he got to do before, you know, the weather gets too hot and the kids stop making noise in the house. But it is what it is. So let's get down to business, because like I like to say, business is booming. Okay, guys? Now, let's look at the tracker real quick. All right, you see my tracker here? I haven't showed this in a while. This is one of the trackers that I use to track my income. Now, as you can see, it's still showing $44,000 from the previous month. Now, you guys know we haven't generated $44,000 this month, so this tracker at some point is going to update. So I haven't used this tracker in a minute, and you guys can see. So look at this right here. Right now we got 10,000 coming in weekly. That's a lot of money, right? I will be glad when I get back to the point where I'm generating $10,000 a week. But for now, you know, we're still averaging $6,000–7,000 a week. So it's still a really good number. Now look at the daily. Daily is about what, $1,500, almost $1,500 a week. I mean a day. That's a lot of money. Imagine making over $1,000 a day for doing nothing other than having your money that's making you money. Now on an hourly basis, the rate did go up to $60.69 an hour. So guys, when you call me and need to do a one-on-one, make sure to have my money ready. Okay, you know I appreciate you guys. I give you guys my time, but my time costs money. Okay, so you see the yield. The yield is about 91.98% yield. Now that is crazy. I remember back then when I used to be freaking out if I had a 5% yield in my portfolio. Now, I mean, it's like a normal stuff. I don't even like flinch, you know. I'm trying to grow a portfolio to get to the point where I don't ever have to worry about money. And I think technically I am at that point. Now, of course, you guys, I talk about this all the time, is re-diversifying my portfolio to where, you know, I still gonna have my high yield because those guys bring in the income. Those are my working guys. They go to work every single day and generate income. We just have to pay attention to it. Like I tell you guys, pay attention to your portfolio to make sure you're not having erosions to where. And then somebody was like, I explained this to somebody the other day and they finally got it. Guys, erosion is if you put in $10 into your portfolio, and even though you got income coming in, but the income is not keeping up with the $10 you put in. Now your $10 is not $6. Now your $10 is not $4. Even though you're still getting dividend, but the money you put in is decreasing in value. That's what the basic term of erosion, okay? You go to the ocean, you see the ocean come in and erode the sand and take the sand back into the sea, and the buildings that are too close to the ocean fall in because of the erosion, digging underneath there and weakening the structure. Guys, it's the same freaking thing, okay? Just use your common sense, pay attention to your portfolio. If you see those things happening, move your money from there to another account. That's why you do the daily cost average to help keep your costs down, right? If let's say if you have 25 grand in your portfolio, and that portfolio have generated you maybe $15,000, okay? So if you add that together, that's $40,000. Now, if the value of your portfolio erodes maybe 5 grand, you still got $10,000 that you gain in your portfolio. So if you move your money out of there to another fund, you still making money. You make $10,000, okay? And you saving your portfolio by moving into another account, not another account, but another fund. That's why I tell you guys all the time, have multiple funds. You can have your high risk funds in the same portfolio as your regular funds, and you can move money from your higher risk funds to your lower risk funds as a way to diversify your portfolio. Okay, because if you don't start to create that habit and build on that as you continue to go down the line, you're gonna see that, hey, your portfolio is losing money. Look at my portfolio, for example. You see right there, 138K. Okay, my portfolio is down 138K, but it is still generating 4 times that much. Okay, my portfolio is generating $500 and something thousand in dividend every single year. Okay, so I'm down $138,000, but my portfolio is still generating $500 plus thousand. So even though my portfolio is down, I can quickly fix that issue if I wanted to in a hurry, right? Even though I tell you guys about that all the time, that what I'm doing to get it to fix it, right, and move money into another fund. But I don't want to do it in a hurry to where it messes up my buffer just in case something else was to happen. Okay, but I talk about this almost at least once a week, what I'm doing to fix that $138,000 down, almost 20% down in my portfolio. Okay, so as you can see, this past week, yesterday, Friday, the portfolio went down 1.45%, $8,000. Yes, the more money you have in your portfolio, when it go down 1%, it's a lot more money your portfolio is going to be down compared to you having a couple of $1,000s in your portfolio. When it's down 1%, yeah, it's not a big deal, because you can still say, oh, that's just my coffee money. But when you got, $6,000, $7,000, $100,000 in your account, and it go down 1%, it's a big chunk of money, right? So paying attention to your portfolio, it is more important than you will understand. I mean, I make jokes, hey, you gotta pay attention to your money like your side chick. Guys, money is like a woman, right? If you don't pay attention to a woman, she's gonna leave you, go to somebody else. If you don't pay attention to your money, somebody else will take it away from you, which could be the bank, the brokerage, the stock eroding, to name a few things, right? So you have to pay attention to your investments, all right? Now, paying attention and taking action, that's a completely different thing, because I snowball sometimes, I drag my feet sometimes, because I want to make sure I'm making the right decision, because whatever a decision I make, it can affect me, can affect my family, can affect my livelihood, can affect everything that I do, okay? Now, of course, I have to fix a lot of these issues, because if I don't fix it sooner, right, as I'm building buffer in my portfolio to help cover these margins, right? My portfolio is almost back at 50%. Now, I believe after this coming week, I should be back at 50% in my portfolio. Now, I know people like, Edwin, but why you worried about that? Because I will have 50% of my own money in my portfolio other than just using margins funds, right? And continue to pay down that buffer, right? Pay down that margin every single month. So by the end of the year, I might have, instead of just having 50% money in there, it might be at 80%. I mean, that's a big jump, but you get the idea, right? If we can go from 50 to 70%, 60%, right? By the end of the year, come next year, I should be able to bring it down even more. And if a buying opportunity comes about, I still have 30, 40%, in there that I can throw into something, or, put money into JPJQ, right? Put money into JPJQ and build that up. JPJQ, SHD, those funds, those are like some of my core funds in the portfolio, right? Those are still under $10,000 invested into those, those positions. But just like I got 100,000 invested into Misty, almost $150,000 invested into Misty. At some point, I want to have 100,000 invested into JP, 100,000 invested into JFQ, maybe another 100,000 invested into SCHD. That come with time, right? But in the meantime, between time, I'm using my high yield strategy to pay for the money that I need into the portfolio to grow the portfolio. So, the goal was to get to $60,000 this year. I'm far away from $60,000 this year. If I don't get to $60,000 this year, I can still try to get there next year or the next year or the next year. It's still a goal, right? It's still a goal. You have to set a goal and try to make sure you work on those goals to get to where you need to get, no matter how small it is, right? For me, that was a big jump. I did 20 and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do 60. We did 30, let's do 60, let's double it. Now, it was possible, it still is possible, but I'll have to invest more money into the portfolio to get more income. It's just that simple, right? But right now, it's like, okay, we gotta pay down debts. I'm paying down my debts, right? At the same time, I'm paying down my margins, and I'm also using money from my portfolio to pay my bills. So I didn't use money this month. I didn't use money last month, right? Did I use money last month? I think I did. I think I took out $4,000 to pay my credit card off. I think I did that because we did 44,000 plus pulling for. Yeah, I still left $40,000 into the portfolio. Okay, so but this month I haven't taken any money out of my dividend account. Everything was being reinvested as we continue to pay down the margin. Now, come next month, I might pull when I get paid from the first week. I might pull maybe half of that into paying off my credit card again, so I can, transfer 2 credit cards back into that 1 credit card, and so I will have paid 3 credit card off, even though I'm transferring 2 balances back into the other card. But for the month, it's gonna show that I pay off 3 credit cards. My credit score is gonna jump, and then next month it's gonna go back down. But before it gets there, we're gonna throw some more money into it, right, to bring it back down. And that's the goal, paying off these credit cards that I've used for different purposes, right? But now I'm like, I don't need to have all these credit cards, right? I use them every now and then just to keep them active, and that's it. But I don't need to have a bunch of credit cards. I got 2 main credit cards that have over $20,000 balances, and those are the ones that I use all the time. Even the ones that I'm using now a lot, they just have a $5,000 balance, right? So all of anything that I have under $5,000, I pay that balance off. I move those cards there, and pay the balance off. I move those cards there, pay those balance off. So by the end of this year, any card that I have that under $5,000 should have a 0 balance, because I'm paying 1 or 2 of them off every single month. Guys, this is why we make money. We make money, right, to take in turn use that money as a tool. Now, this is me using my money as a tool, right? And I'm encouraging guys to get to this point, because when you got $40-some thousand coming in every month, right, and you don't have to do nothing for it other than pay attention to what your portfolio is doing, it's become there's no stress, right? There's no stress, none whatsoever, right? I can say, you know what, I want to travel to go somewhere. Guys, I almost bought a ticket, right, to fly back to the U.S. to go and watch Chelsea play. I was this close, but I was like, you know what, why am I going to spend a couple $1,000s just to go watch the game when I can watch the game on TV that I already paid for to watch, and not knowing the cable in the house have the same games on them. So I paid what, $30 for the month, for the rest of the month, to watch the games. But I got cable in the house, and I could watch the games on the channel, on TV, because the TV got like 7 different ESPN and all this other stuff. And all those games are being shown. But we do things sometimes without thinking. And I know you got to let everybody just $30. That adds up, right? All the different subscriptions that I have that I'm paying $300-400 a month just for subscription, just to be able to watch soccer games. When I travel or when I'm somewhere else, I need to watch the game. I just connect to my VPN, watch the game. Now, eventually, a lot of these things is going to be gone, or I'm going to transfer from a US version to a Colombia version, which is means spending $20 a month or $25 a month for Netflix. I hear it'll be like $6 a month, or even less than that, right? So it's just one of those things, and you're like, but it's penny on the dollar. But when I go to the US, I can still use my Colombia account without restrictions. But if I leave the US and come to Colombia, there's location restrictions on what I can watch. Okay, so I know I'm giving you guys more information than stuff that have to do with dividend investing, but what is the use to make all the money and you can't use it? You can't do nothing with it. Okay, so you want to retire early? Set your goals. I made a few videos about $300,000 should be enough to retire outside the U.S. and even some part of Europe. And I got a couple of text messages and like, bro, how is it possible? It's simple, right? Let's say I'm spending, I know I talked about this some time back. I'm spending over $40,000 a year just for my house in Atlanta, okay? And this is not have to do nothing with, this is not no light, water, gas, no nothing. That's just mortgages, okay? Just mortgages for my property in Atlanta, okay? Now, if I let the house go, not only am I going to be saving $45,000 a year, but the money that I would get from selling the house, right, will go back into my portfolio. So let's say if I take $200,000 and throw it back in my portfolio, this $130,000, $38,000 right here will be gone because I'm going to buy down a lot of these positions in here, and me throwing even 150,000 into this account will push my income over $60,000 a month. Easy. If I can throw 100,000, 150,000 into this portfolio, right? And this is just mostly my chart swap, my Fidelity portfolio, right? That would pretty much eliminate all of this negativity that I have in the portfolio, right? And increase my income. And I can take the other 50 grand and throw it into the Robinhood portfolio, right? I can throw 50 grand into the Robinhood portfolio, which would increase the annual income. In the $2,000 portfolio, the estimated income right now is almost $1,000. So if I throw $50,000 into this portfolio, right, we got 2,000 in there right now, right? That's generating 800. So if I was to throw additional 50,000 into this portfolio, so for every $2,000, right? Because I would just spread the funds evenly, right? For every $2,000 into this portfolio would give me $800, $820. So now, right? I got 2,000 in there, and if I were to throw $50,000 into this account, right? That 50 grand will give me close to $8,000 in income annually. If my math, I'm just doing it top of my head, right? This is all I estimate. 50 grand. If I throw 50 grand in here, right? I should be able to live off of $50,000 just by throwing it into this portfolio. Now, I don't have to pull a lot of money out. This thing right here is it's not even 2,000 in this account. It's 100 and 100. It's $1,597.68. This is the balance in the portfolio. Okay, portfolio is down $24, but it's still generating over half, right? over half of the value of the portfolio. So that's what I'm saying. If I threw 50 grand in here, that would give me 52,000, 51,000 something. Of course, we're gonna have to add another zero to this amount right here. Just that simple, right? We're gonna add a zero. So 50 grand generating me $8,000 a month. Of course, I invest in high yield, low yield, mid yield. I invest in all of them. But my lowest position I have in here is probably paying, I believe it will be 3.7%. I might have some stuff in my portfolio that pay less than 3%. But it takes money to make money. So if you want to sit there, twiddle your thumbs and like, oh, but it's risky, guys, everything you do is risk. You get up in the morning is risk. People now in the US getting arrested going to work because they're not documented, right? But these guys, do they have a choice? Their wife is home, but who is getting arrested right now? The men, right? You see very few women getting arrested because the women are at home. The men are putting themselves at risk, right, to go out to work knowing there's a chance that they can get arrested and taken away from their family, and the same people they're out there trying to support will have nobody to support them. Now, that's something completely different. But if this don't trigger something in your mind, right, that men, we go to war. Now women fight nowadays, right? So, but still, the percentage is a lot different, right? But the guys are out there working on roofs, working on construction buildings, working on lawns, car washes, right? But they don't have documents. But they go out there every day knowing that they can get arrested and taken away from the same people that they're out there trying to support. So let that sink in, okay? Let that sink in. Now imagine if you could get a loan, right? If you could get a loan for 50 grand and reinvest that 50 grand in the mixture of funds, right? And you will have enough money to pay the loan back, and you have enough money to live to where you never need money again if you balance your portfolio properly, right? If you putting stuff into JEPI, JEPQ, right? JEPI. If you putting stuff into JEPI, right? JEPI is what? 5.1%, 11.44% dividend yield. So JEPI will pay you one share of JEPI, right, which is $56.66 as of today or Friday, right? The next earning is June 29th. So they're gonna be paying some money coming in today, right? So tomorrow I'm gonna receive some money from JEPI. So on annual basis, right? So if you buy one stock or one ETF, you pay $56.66. Every year you should get $6.48 from your one share. Now do the math, right? You need how many positions are you gonna need from that $6.48 a year? One position give you $6.48, right? So how many of those are you going to need for you not to work anymore? Now, I know I say this all the time. Retiring without a purpose is not as easy as you guys think, right? You can just be like, oh, when I started working remotely, right, I was like, man, I can have more time to hang out with my homeboys, to go out, have fun, and do all these different things, right? But I was only thinking about me. I wasn't thinking about them. And you said, why? Because these guys still work their regular job, right? They still work a 9 to 5. They still have to get up in the morning, dress up, go to the office. I, on the other hand, I just have to get out of my bed, brush my teeth, and sit in my computer. If I want to take a shower, I take a shower. If I want to go to the gym, right? While they're commuting to work for 1 hour, 2 hours, I can run to the gym 30 minutes, come back before my shift even start. I can go on the trail at 12, ride for an hour, and come back. And this guy is still, they're trying to go get to lunch. I can make lunch anytime, right? I can leave work at 4:30 and like, okay, let my boss know, hey, I'm done for the day, right? And I'm going to exercise. I'm going back on the trail to go ride my bike. But those guys, if they leave work at 4:30, they're not getting home till 6 because of traffic, right? But I, on the other hand, never had to worry about that for the last 6 years. I used to complain when my manager would be like, hey, I need to come to the office today. And I'd be like, man, I got to get in the car. You know, I got to put on clothes. I mean, I got clothes on, but I can't go to the office with short pants and t-shirts, even though sometimes I did. I was like, this is what I had on when you called me. You seemed like an emergency, so I just showed up. But these are some of the things that we don't think about when you're working remote. The time, the money, the energy, the gas, right? You can get the money back for the gas because you can expense it, but you can never get back your time. Okay? Now, I'm sitting here, I'm in Colombia today, making this video, right? Most of my friends that I would normally hang out with, they're back home in the US with their wives, their kids, you know, our other friends. They're doing activities because they're all on that same wavelength, right? They all got to go to the office. Now, I got friends that are doctors, lawyers, engineers like myself, accountants, VPs, CTOs, right? Myself, I was a director of cybersecurity for 5-6 years, right? From regular director to senior director. But that was never enough because guess what? I was like, you know what? I need to work another job. I need to work 2 jobs. Because when they call me, hey, man, we got an assignment for you. I'll be the first time, I'll be like, is it remote? When they say yes, I'll be like, okay. What is the, you know, what's the requirement? What I got to do? Let me know. Because in the beginning, I can decide, okay, am I going to have a chance to work this job and work my regular job? Right? Because most cases, the other jobs I was getting called for were making more. I was making more money working those jobs than I working my regular job that I consider my regular job. But that job opened that mindset, and I wasn't going to leave it just like that without having another one. Okay, so having a stable income, right, is good, but having 2 stable income is better. Excuse me. Having 3 stable income is even more better than having 2. Now, how long can you do it? That's up to you. You got to know how physical and how draining it is. I tell people all the time, these people that do physical jobs outside, working on the grass, cutting trees, all this stuff, they are already getting into physical exercises that they don't really have to be out there walking. But they're outside, they're in the heat, they're doing stuff that you sit at a desk all day that is doing a job that is mentally fatiguing you, but you can't do nothing because you sitting at a desk. But if this guy's outside cutting down some trees, if he's mad, he can cut down some trees even faster to get rid of his anger, and he can release that stress. Okay, but what are you gonna do? Slap on the desk, write, type an email real fast, or you gonna get up, walk away from the desk to go get some fresh air, calm yourself down because your boss don't piss you off. So guys, there's a lot of ways to look at this. You can look at this as like, oh wow, I hit the jackpot. Okay, I want to work for 20 years. This is my 20 years. Each year I need to gain a little bit more on this. And you'd be surprised. It took me 5 years to get here with a little bit of extreme high yield. Okay? But once you get to that next level, now is survival. Being able to survive is key. Because you look at this number here, like a lot of people like, oh, it's impossible for you to be generating all this money, but you only have $500,000, $600,000 in your portfolio. Okay. So that's why I started calculating every income every week to make those videos, right? Because before, when I talk about how much money I come, I just go based on the estimate. I never had a chance to have the time to go in there and say, okay, we look at the portfolio, we got $5 here, $2 here. I calculate all the pennies that come in, right? Because guess what? Next month, those pennies is going to go from 1 penny to 2 penny, 2 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6. Okay? And then from there, we're going to have 50 cents, 55, to where we get to $1. And then once the position get to $1, guess what? Except they have a horrible, horrible, horrible week, it's never going to go down below $1 again. I'm not talking about my extreme high yield stuff. I'm talking about my regular yield stuff. It's not going to go below $1 again. And we're going to continue to grow those, Right? I have a lot of positions in my portfolio right now. I thought about it. I say, yeah, I need to trim it down, bring it to 50. But I'm like, you know what? I don't have to. After thinking about it the last couple of days, I'm like, you know what? I don't have to. I'm going to continue to invest, put money into those things, bring them up gradually, right? And the stuff that I don't need in my portfolio, I'll sell out of it. But I don't have to sell a bunch of positions just to say, oh, I got 50 positions in my portfolio. That never was me, right? I grow my portfolio based on how I felt was good for my financial strategy that I'm working on, right? And now, after moving all these funds back into the other account, right, to grow for my baby girl, to pay her tuition in university, her mom stepped in and started paying some of the university. So I don't have to come up with $20K anymore to pay the tuition. I only have to come up with half of that. So it makes my life a lot more easier, right? To where, like I say, if I throw $20,000 into my portfolio, right, I only got $1,500, $1,600 in that account. So if I throw 20 in there, I'm throwing 18 times more money in there, right? Because I got, what, it's not 18, sorry. I have half, so like 1,600. So it'd be like 12, 13 times more than what is actually in there. That's still a lot. That is still a lot of money to invest. 20 grand into that portfolio, I will go from generating freaking $800 a year, right, to maybe $3,000 or $4,000 a year. And it's going to increase, not a year, but a month, right? Because that's more income coming back into the portfolio. So, and within the next few months, you guys are going to see, because my baby got to go back to school in August, right, end of July. So August, the second week in August, I think she go back to school. But I already told her, I said, look, make sure your mama pay the tuition this time around, because daddy got to do a lot of stuff. Guys, this is progress. You're seeing progress before your eyes. I make videos every day, so you can say, oh, Edwin, you make a video this month, and then next month you make another video. No, I make videos every day, so you see the ups and downs that my portfolio goes through every single day, right? Even when I was sick, I was making videos because I wanted to keep that consistency of making a video every single day. And those 2 days I didn't make videos, guys, it was some of the hardest things that I ever had to do, right? To not sit in front of you guys and have a conversation. So with that said, I don't want to make the video too long, right? It is a weekend talk video, so sometimes it's just easy for me to just have a conversation with you guys, because I don't get to do this except once a week, and sometimes it's easier to have a conversation with you guys, because you guys, this is my therapy, right? Because all the mistakes I make on my portfolio, guess what? I have to fix them. if somebody said, Evan, this is going on, what is this, what's that? Then I'll be like, okay, I can go and look back at it and be like, yeah, this is why. But if you guys don't comment on the videos, if you guys don't like and share the content, I don't know if this stuff is stuff that you guys like, right? I know a lot of people want to see me succeed. Some people want to see me fail. People are here for a different reason, right? But once you know how to be successful, I know how I got here in the last 5 years, right? And I busted my butt. Can you imagine if I didn't have to work as hard and just went and got a loan and put that money in here? Would I appreciate the same? Probably. Maybe not. But the fact that I have to work multiple jobs, 2 jobs, 3 jobs in some cases, right? And investing 80% of my income from those second and third jobs. Because I was still having fun. I was still traveling, right? I was still traveling, going across the world, seeing places, meeting new people. But I was still investing. Now, this is my financial tracker, my financial journey tracker. And the more money I make, the less I'm going to show. The more money I make, the less I'm going to show. You guys see the tracker that I show you guys, yes. But the more money I make, right? When I start making 1 million, 2 million in income, of course, you guys going to see, yeah, you probably just get to see this. Right, you get to see he got a Charles Schwab, he got a dividend portfolio here, he got a Fidelity, he got Robinhood. But you know, there's a bunch of other stuff you can put your money into other than just stocks, right? And I have real estate, so of course we can track those here. That's tracked in a different tracker, right? So guys, remember to like and share the content, guys. Okay, I'm here as a motivator. If I can do it, any one of you guys can do it. Yes, even though I work as a director, but I wasn't making big director money. I make more money now than I made when I was a director for 5 years. Right? Sometimes titles, yeah, you want to be big boy, you got a big title, but no income. That was me, making less than 100K as a director. But I always got jobs offered, but I always turn them down. And people are like, why would you turn making double down to make less than 100K? My freedom, right? My freedom. I don't want to sit behind a desk in somebody else's building. I don't want to have to get up every day, go spend money on new clothes, new shoes, just to go to work. I don't care about that. I can get up in my shorts, my t-shirt, and sit at the desk. When I have meetings, I wear a t-shirt. I don't have to wear no tie and be all nice for the executives. When at conference meetings, when we have to get online, I get online and they see my face and I turn my camera on so they know I'm there. Freedom, right? A friend of mine, Sam John, he quit work. Boy, a director making big money, traveling everywhere, Brazil, Argentina, working for a big company. And he's like, no man, I'm not gonna do this no more. And he stopped and went into real estate, right? So I don't know how much real estate he have now, but that's what he does. He have his own businesses and do that. You know, he find his why. So if you don't have to work for nobody, you know, you can do it for yourself. But you can just say, oh, you know what, I'm gonna go do it for myself. I gotta go do it. No, you have to plan, guys. You have to plan. That's why now, that's why I make these videos. This is my, how do I say? This is my backup plan. When I say my backup plan, now I'm not talking about income-wise. This is my backup plan to give me something to do, right? Can you imagine if I wasn't working a regular job, instead of making 1 video a day, I can do 3 or 4 videos a day, right? It might not be on just this one platform, on this one channel, but I can make 3 or 4 videos a day on other channels that I might create, right? And post content. And that will keep me occupied for 3-4 hours during the day making videos. And when I'm done making videos, guess what? I can go run around with my daughter. I can take her to the mall. I can go pick her from school. And that's other things to do. I can still exercise, ride my bike, do those things that I was doing before. So you have to find your why. Why? What is your why? You want to retire, go to Colombia, go to the DR, and do all this other stuff? That's some people, that's their why. But that gets tiring after a while. It gets boring. Traveling, it takes a lot. Because you have to be on your P's and Q's when you're traveling. You can't be traveling and fall asleep at the airport. You're going to miss your flight. You know, you oversleep, you're going to miss your flight. So guys, you know, the video's already hit 40 minutes. Alright, so remember to like and share the content. Like and share the content, right? I tried to cut that off with that dude flying through here with his loud motorcycle. But it is what it is. Guys, I appreciate you. You know, I say this all the time. I appreciate you guys, right? We got over 3,000. We got over 385 videos on this channel. We got over 2,338 subscribers. Guys, you know, by the end of the year, we might be at 3,000. We might get there before, we might not. But this channel is growing gradually, okay? Gradually. Now, I know YouTube probably don't push my videos like some other videos, but you know what? The people that it gets to, those are the people that need it. That's how I look at it. Because if we get to everybody, we're gonna grow too fast. And this is I don't need that. I don't need the extra stress, right? Because the more people we have, that means the more one-on-ones I got to do. That would take away time from me making the videos and showing my portfolios as I need to. Okay, guys. Now, if you schedule a call with me, make sure you have my money. Okay? You see right here, my income is going up, right? You see, I'm up to $60 now an hour, even though I'm still charging $50, right? And in some cases, you guys know I don't even take your money, right? Because I just feel like my goal here was to give back, and sometimes just giving back one-on-one, it just work out. It just depends on the person and the energy. Okay, guys, I love you guys. Still blessed, and we're gonna do this again tomorrow because tomorrow is another day. And we're gonna get up like we do every day, try to make some money. Now, next week it's gonna be a busy week for me. I got SOC 2 Type 2 security audits coming up in my company. So, but that's not gonna keep me from doing what I'm doing. It's just gonna keep me more focused with a little short time to get that done. Okay, guys, I love you. Stay blessed. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.